Hello, and welcome back to another Six and Below movie podcast.
Welcome.
This week, we're journeying to the sleepy town of Beaverfield to take part in a whodunit involving a werewolf. I'm Erik, this is Darren. Welcome to Six and Below.
Yeah, welcome in. Welcome in. So a little bit of an introduction of Six and Below as well. If you've never seen us before, welcome in. If you do enjoy the content, by the way, don't forget that like, comment, subscribe, and also hit that 5-star rating over on Spotify, just so it helps us get out there for more people. As you can see, we are very new. This is our 4th episode, is it?
4th episode, yeah. Episode 4, going strong.
Yeah, so what we do, we rate films on IMDb lower than a 6. So if it's 6.1, a little bit too high for us. 6 and below, that is what we do.
Spot on.
Do you want to introduce a little bit about the film?
Yeah, so a few facts about the film. So this week, we are reviewing The Werewolves Within.
That's it.
So this film is actually based on a game released by Ubisoft back in 2016. So it cost a whopping $6.5 million to make. Don't know where they spent that money, but we'll find out.
Yeah.
It grossed on the opening weekend $250,000. And overall, it pretty much failed to break $1 million. Gross worldwide, $991,000. So someone is sat there with a gaping $5.5 million in the bank account.
It's probably more than that because half of the profits go to box office as well.
Well, there's that. And then obviously, I don't know if these figures also include marketing costs or, what else do they have to do?
Yeah. But to be fair about the film, though, it was filmed during COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So when it was released initially, a lot of cinemas were pretty much closed, wasn't it? Or only on certain films, wasn't it?
So it was a bit of bad timing. Released in 2001, rating 15. So to me, it's kind of projected as kind of, it's a murder mystery. Yep. But then, obviously, you've got the added werewolf. But, as we'll get into later on, I know it's supposed to be based on a werewolf genre, but I don't think there needed to be werewolves in it. It would have made a good whodunit.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was a good whodunit, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
I enjoyed this film. It's a 6.0 on the dot rating on IMDb. I think it's been undersold, to be honest, because I enjoyed the film.
Yeah, I'd like to say, I just think it was down to timing with COVID and everything.
Yeah.
If it would have came out this year instead, I think it would do a lot better, or a year before COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they've done really bad for it.
I've never played the video game that it's based on, but I had a quick look into it. So apparently it was a VR game released in 2016 on the PlayStation and Windows.
Was it PlayStation?
Yeah, so it was PlayStation VR. And it almost seems like it's supposed to be like a whodunit. You're supposed to get your friends together in VR. One of you is the werewolf. It kind of reminds me a bit of
Among Us.
Among Us. Yeah. But I don't know if it'd be my type of game, and I'm not sure I'd probably made a film out of this game.
When you think about it, making a film on a game, or more something like Prince of Persia or something like that, or Assassin's Creed maybe. But
they've done that, haven't they? But
on a VR game, you wouldn't really think about that too much, would you?
To me, it's almost like someone has wrote a script of a whodunit, shopped it round to studios, and someone at Ubisoft has gone, actually, this is a good premise. Let's stick a werewolf at the end, and it's basically our game.
Yeah. Good promotion for the game then, isn't it, as well? Because people were talking about it.
Well, I had never heard of the game before, you and I are quite avid gamers, and I'd never heard of The Werewolves Within. It was only when, as the film opens, you see that it's produced by Ubisoft, and that's when I thought, why are Ubisoft doing a game? Doing a film? I keep calling it a game, but why are they doing a film? And I was thinking, well, is it based on a game? So I had a quick Google, and it is. It's based on this VR game that I don't know. It's not got very good reviews itself. And what I did look into it, it just looks like a bunch of people sat round a campfire trying to work out which one of them is the werewolf.
Right. Yeah, because I've not seen any gameplay on it or anything. And like you say, we are big avid gamers. And we dabble in VR as well, don't we?
Well, yeah, we played VR.
Yeah, so maybe that was just a little bit before our time when VR was, getting out there. It's quite quiet, really. It's still pretty quiet. A lot of the games on VR, to be fair.
Yeah, it never really got that established, but obviously you've got I could talk all day about tech, but you've got the new Quest coming out, Quest 3, and obviously you've got this thing that Apple's made, this AR headset. I'm not sure that's quite traditional VR. It's more augmented reality.
Yeah.
But they are still putting money into it, so someone's obviously played this game somewhere down the line. But,
yeah, exactly.
But the film premise, set aside the fact that it's based on a game, because I think we mentioned in one of our previous podcasts that films based on games don't really turn out very well. But I enjoyed this one. It's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, definitely is. Definitely is. So it's actually directed by somebody called Josh Rubin.
Yep.
I don't know if you've heard of him before.
Never.
No. He's not really done any big name films, unfortunately, either. And it's written by, have you seen who it was written by?
I did look into it, but I didn't recognise anything that he'd written before.
The name?
Go on.
Now, the film is about a werewolf.
Yeah.
The writer is actually called Mishna Wolf.
Yeah, because when I did look into him, they seem to have written something else that involved wolves.
Right, I've not seen too much like.
I'll see if I can quickly find it. But yeah, have you got anything else that they've done previously?
No, not off the top of my head. I didn't really recognise anything you see or anything what was big, so I just left it be.
Yeah, I was the same really, but bit of an unknown director, but he's done a good job. If this was his first feature film, I've got to give him props. I probably couldn't have done any better.
No, 100%, mate, 100%. The film stars a Sam Richardson as Flynn, who starred in Hocus Pocus 2.
Yes.
That's one of the bigger films. The Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt. Have you seen that one yet? That's a great film.
I don't think I've seen that. Was that a Netflix one?
It might be on Amazon.
Was it Amazon?
Yeah, really
one
good
of the
film.
streaming services. Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
Where they go into the future, trying to prevent something. I can't remember too much about it, but yeah, he is in that as one of the little side characters. What follows?
Would
him
they
around.
not have been there going into the past to prevent something?
I can't remember. I've always seen it once. It was like 2 years ago when it came out. God, sound like a right bloody newbie, don't we? I used to do a lot of TV shows and other movies as well. Are quite small names.
Yeah.
See,
I did recognise him. Sorry. I did recognise Sam Richardson, and I do like the character he plays in this. We'll come more onto that later. But he's got one of them faces where you're like, I've seen you before, but I couldn't place him. But then when you mentioned Hocus Pocus 2, I was thinking, yes, he's the guy that owns the shop in that film.
That is him, yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have watched that film.
Yeah, because that was a terrible film.
It was, yeah. It didn't need to be made.
Yeah, I remember watching it with Leanne last Halloween, and she absolutely loves Hocus Pocus, the original one. And this was absolutely terrible.
You see, I liked Hocus Pocus when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But the thing I don't get, just talking about that film for just a second, right? Have you noticed in that Hocus Pocus film, considering it's a kid's film, how much they go on about the lad being a virgin?
Yeah, they do actually, don't they?
Yeah, it's all about, oh, he's a virgin. And they mention it, even the little girl in it mentions it several times. And I'm thinking, how many kids turn around to the parents and at the end of it going, Mummy, what's a virgin? Anyway, I wonder if Hocus Pocus could be on this podcast at some point.
It could be next week.
I reckon the second one's probably down there.
It could be next week.
It could be. And then who else have we got in the film then?
That would be a punishment, if I watch Hocus Pocus 2.
That would be a punishment.
God, I don't really want to watch that. Really don't. But, however, if you are watching this on YouTube, let us know down in the comments down below a film which is rated below 6 on IMDb. We'll have a look at it and we might stick it onto our list as well. So it could be one in the future for us to view.
Yep. You want us to have a look at this movie, get our thoughts on it, maybe slate it a bit?
Yeah, 100%.
In the comments.
And our second lead actor on this is Milana Vayntrub as Cecily. Yep. And Milana has actually voice acted in God of War Ragnarok.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was in that, the new God of War. She's not many big name films that I've seen. There's a lot of smaller roles that she's done, like side characters, etc., or somebody walking around in the background. And she's done a lot of work for the AT&T adverts for the mobile network over in America.
Oh, right.
So that's where she's probably most recognizable from.
That's why she like a spokesperson for them. It's like kind of part-time.
Yeah, a lot of like the adverts, like the face of it and stuff. A bit like Kevin Bacon on EE in the UK.
Yeah,
that type of thing.
I'd say the only other character that was in it, supporting wise, I recognised was I don't know how you pronounce his surname, so I'm probably going to butcher this, but Harvey Gillian. He's in What We Do in the Shadows. I don't know if you've ever seen that TV show.
Is that Joaquin?
Yeah, so he plays Joaquin Wolfson in this, which I thought Wolfson as a surname. Kind of quite apt. But he plays Guillermo. I'm probably butchering that as well. In What We Do in the Shadows. So if anyone's watched that, he's in this.
Yeah, worth a watch then. Your recommendation?
Yeah.
Perfect. And then on the opening scene of this, we get somebody killed, but we don't actually see what kills them, do we? Just see like the phone ringing. Yes. Get to know the ringtone. He's looking around. And then it's a case of the camera panning from left to right. And then something drags him. You just see him get dragged off, really, and don't you?
We do, yeah. So the first time watching it, I was wondering a bit, why is he hiding? Because in the scene, he's kind of got his back to a tree. So it opens up. This guy's in the middle of the woods, snowy, winter. He's got his back to a house and he's playing with his wedding ring. You're thinking, why is he hiding in the woods? And then he hears the noises.
I didn't look too far into that actually at first. But like say, he is actually playing with his wedding ring, isn't he?
Yeah, he's playing with his wedding ring. But it's kind of, I know they're trying to hide the werewolf at the start. Well, pretty much whole way through the film. Yeah. But we know it's a werewolf. It's in the bloody title.
Yeah.
I mean, why not just show us a wolf?
Yeah. Just see what it is, isn't it? I think it's more of like down to the atmospheric horror type thing, isn't it? When you don't see what it is killing them.
Yeah. I know they're trying to keep it that way, but I think, seeing as we know it's a werewolf, that it's in the bloody title, that you may as well show us the wolf.
But then again, it might actually give the character away. Because the film is like a little Guess Who, isn't it? So you might be able to go, wait a minute, that looks a little bit more feminine or it looks a bit more masculine. Then
yeah.
Put some of the characters out.
Yeah, because we'll come to that later when we eventually see the werewolf. But again, I do kind of like in this where even though, again, it's in the title, they do keep you on your feet about whether there is actually a werewolf.
Yeah, because you don't, like I say, you don't actually see it, do you, until the end.
But I do think if it wasn't based on the actual game, that maybe change the title up a bit.
Yeah,
keep you a bit more suspenseful.
Yep. The next scene as well, we get introduced to the main character, Flynn.
Yeah. Finn.
And Finn is actually driving his car, listening to an audio tape on how to be a man. And did you notice there's an old woman who's actually telling him how to be a man by screaming the words balls over and over?
Yeah, so I like this introduction to the character because all the way through, Finn is he's this nice guy who's moved to town. He's going to be the new ranger of the town because it's a rural, sleepy town on the verge of on the edge of a national forest. So he's coming to town to take up the ranger post. But you learn straight away that he's almost too nice. He's listening to a book on trying to be more of a confident, more say no type of guy, less agreeable.
Yeah.
And I do like that. It's a good introduction to kind of, build on the character, kind of get to know what he's like. And then the whole thing with his girlfriend. So he's got this girlfriend, is it Charlotte? You never meet her. She's not in the film. She speaks to him a few times on the phone. But it's almost like he's trying to be more of a man for her.
Yeah.
Because they've obviously broken up, but he can't kind of get his head past this. So he's trying to be more of a manly man, a bit more confident, Yeah,
but it takes a little old woman telling you how to do it.
Yes. And shouting balls, apparently, while driving in your car. Balls.
Just need a bit of Andrew Tate on there, don't they?
They do. So, and then we come to where the majority of the story is going to take place. It's character Janine. She runs this hotel in the town. So he arrives there. He's obviously going to be staying there for a bit because he's just moved to the town, and he walks in and we see Cecily sat there reading a poetry book. He gets pointed towards Janine and Sam.
Yeah.
Now, there's a bit of a side story that this guy, Sam Parker, is he's in town because he's buying up land from the residents there because he wants to build this gas pipeline through the middle of the town. Now, he's there discussing with Janine, and there was a funny bit that I liked because the humour in this, it's quite dark and it's quite fast. So there were some bits on my second watch that I noticed that made me laugh that I missed on the first. So the part I mean is when he walks over to Janine and she goes, "Oh, it's our new Ranger," and he's like, "No, sorry to interrupt." And she turns around and goes, No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, try and get away from the meeting.
Yeah. But I love as well how he's trying to sell a pipeline to her by drawing a diagram of the pipeline on a napkin. You'd think he'd have like actual paperwork there.
You would have thought it'd be a bit more
diagrams.
Planned, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But anyway, this Sam Parker, not a very likable guy. Obviously, trying to throw his money about around the town.
You try and convince people, aren't they, to sell bits of their land so they can make millions off this gas pipeline that's running through Beaverfield, really, isn't it?
Yeah, so it causes a bit of a tension between some of the lead characters. Now, Finn and Sam get off on a bit of a wrong foot because he says he notices the napkin where he's been drawing this diagram on, and he almost accidentally threatens him, saying, "Oh, it's a bit close to forest land there. I'm here to keep you in check." And then Sam obviously gets it back up a bit.
Yeah,
I thought that was quite a funny scene.
Yeah, straight off the back, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it made me laugh as well when Janine was asking Flynn if she needed a hand, taking his stuff upstairs.
Yeah.
And then you see the next scene, she's literally walking upstairs like a pack mule with everything on her back, whilst he's just stood there holding a hat.
Yeah. Now, as the nice guy he's supposed to be, you can tell it's killing him. He's got this woman, she's in the prime of her life, carrying this backpack, really struggling, trying to be the helpful woman she is. So she runs, from what I can tell, she runs this hotel on her own. We later find out that her husband's done one. So she's recently divorced. She's like this nice older lady, runs a local hotel, seems to make everyone sandwiches that gets mentioned every now and then.
It does, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, Janine will make us a sandwich, it's all right.
Then we meet Cecily, so the leading character alongside Finn. Now, these two, they have a good relationship from the off.
Yeah, it's
you
like
can
a bit
tell
of connections, and they're straight.
Yeah, Cecily seems to really like the look of Sam straight off the bat. And although it's a bit rushed, the chemistry between them, I did buy it.
Yeah, it was good chemistry between them. It's believable, isn't it?
It was, yeah.
It was really good acted, the scene between them both. And then she gets introduced as like, not the male man or the male lady, it's the male person.
Male person, yeah.
Male person.
Because gender's a construct. So then we find out that Sam's had a letter. There's a local environmentalist staying at the hotel. So she's there, to gather up information about the pipeline. So Cecily offers to show Finn about. So we learn that Janine's husband David ran off with a woman he met at a bar. Apparently they've gone to Belize.
Out of all places. As Cecily is walking Flynn around town as well, we get introduced to a couple of the main characters what are in here. We've got the millionaires, which is Joaquin and Devon. Then we've got Gwen and Marcus over at the garage.
Oh, Gwen and Marcus.
Pete out in the road. Did you notice the gas pipe?
Yes.
The sculpture.
Because she describes it as a phallus, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Because they've got this gas pipe that's like a big pipe coming out with a flame coming out the end, but then the two canisters next to it. So it looks like a dick and balls with a flame coming out. So it's there, obviously, advertising that they're putting in this new gas pipeline. So, yeah. It's just there in the middle of the town.
I found that quite funny, to be honest, when I first seen that.
Gwen and Marcus. Now, them two are quite funny because she's a local mechanic and he comes across as a bit of a kind of a sleazeball, petty criminal type guy.
Yeah, 100%. Like he's on something that's high half the time, isn't it? She says to him, like, "Are you high again, Marcus?"
Yeah. He goes, "I would never drive high."
Just turns around to Flynn's like, "Are you a cop?" He's like, no, I'm just a ranger.
When she's got that big spanner and she's like this with the spanner, trying to make it look like a dick. He was like, what's that about?
Start trying to chase Marcus with it.
Yeah. Oh, and then we meet the crackpot. God, what's her name?
Trish.
So Trish is like the local weirdo. She's got this little dog that she adores and treats like a baby. And her lifelong ambition is to open up a crafting shop. So she wants the money from this gas pipeline buy-off because they own the local, the maple syrup?
Yes, it's the maple syrup forest that they own, isn't it?
Yeah. So they own the maple syrup forest. But she's just nuts. She gives him like this little figurine that she's made a soap bottle angel.
It's like a little angel to sit on top of your Christmas tree, but it's a white one.
Yeah.
And she gives it to Flynn, and Flynn's like, "Oh, it's a pale version of me."
Yeah. But I like it. I thought it was quite funny as well. So he goes, "Oh, Ranger," and then salutes him, and he goes, "Never with the left."
Never with the left.
Never with the left. Never with the left.
Pete repeats it as well. And Cecily's like, "No, I don't think he means that."
So I mean, the writing in it, it's very quick.
Yeah,
really it's very quick-witted in some places, and it's been well written.
Yeah, 100%.
In my opinion,
the dialogue is fantastic.
Considering the type of film it's in, it's a comedy horror, but it is very, very quick, and there is some dark parts in it as well.
Yeah, that's what I did find when I was watching it as well. And like you say, it's very witty, it's very quick, and it's all the characters, the way they all come together. Because when you're in discussions, there's always somebody piping up in the background, like with a little comment, or they step in front of each other. You notice like one will be talking, and then the next one will come to the next on the scene, and then somebody else. I really liked the way they filmed.
Yeah, I do. I like that. So it starts off with the two, and as the camera kind of backs off, the other characters come in. There's a couple of scenes like that, and I really like that.
Yeah.
Really well done. So we got a good bit where we meet the local, how would you describe this Emerson guy? Kind of like...
He's a taxidermist, isn't he? So he likes hunting on his land. So
he lives in the forest in the middle of nowhere on his own. Now, they have a package they've got to deliver to him. But when Finn and Cecily are walking up, she's like, would you mind taking the package to him? And just as he's about to start walking, his phone rings, and then it turns out there's a load of signs along the way basically saying,
stop or
turn
you
back
shoot.
or you're going to get shot. And then there's another sign saying, I'm warning you. And then another sign, and he misses them all. But then we come to the front of his house, and there's a few jump scares, which I didn't really appreciate very much.
I didn't scare you, did they?
They didn't scare me, but they were just... the one where he's looking at he kind of zooms in on this piece of fabric over the window, and you're like, what's he looking at? And then he moves in, there's a wolf. Like taxidermy wolf. But this guy's quite funny. But I noticed a part as well. He sticks a gun in his face, and he goes...
Gets the bear spray.
Yeah, he gets the bear spray. Yeah, I only noticed that on the second take. So Emerson points a gun right point blank in his face, his shotgun, and he's just there, and he just pulls out his bear spray. It's like, but then when he mentions the word freedom, you hear an eagle in the background.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? It's like he goes, because this is America and freedom, and then this eagle's like, good little soundbite.
Yeah, I'd say it's like taxidermy hermit type thing, isn't it? A very lonely guy.
So he's a bit of a loner, bushy beard, dirty clothes, wearing animal skins.
Very protective of his land as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because when he's talking to Flynn introduces himself as being the new ranger. He makes a strong point, doesn't he? Like, everything I kill is on my land, I own it type thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And then we move along, and we've got... we move to a scene where she I don't get this bit, because he takes Finn to a bar. So Cecily takes Finn to a bar. For some reason, she's kind of looking after it because she delivers parcels there. But why is the bar closed in the winter?
Yeah, she mentioned, didn't she? Because the bar's closed at the moment. They give her access to the bar so they can give her the parcels and leave the parcels in the back room for him, doesn't it?
So we see Cecily, and we know, obviously, that she's a bit infatuated with Finn from the first meeting. She's got a bit doe-eyed, tripping over her words and stuff. But then they go in, and they go into this bar, and she's like, I'll go into the back and just see if I can find anything I can heat up. And she comes out, and she's took all her baggy clothes off, and you see, actually, she's quite spot on.
Yeah, she's not too bad, actually.
She comes out doing a little dance. I like that bit. And he turns around in slow motion while she's dancing to the side. And
That's
she's
it.
got a short top on and, the boobies.
Yeah, and it just shows as well, Flynn really likes her as well at the same time. Another way he's looking at
Yeah.
her. Like the chemistry is getting built up between them.
Well, I'd say it's a good way of building up chemistry, considering in film time they've only known each other about 5 minutes. They've done a walk through the town, but they can tell there's a bit of a crush there.
Definitely something there.
And then we learn a bit then about Finn and his girlfriend. So she wants him, as we mentioned before, she wants him to man up a bit. And then it's like they have no contact. He's moved out of town. They don't see each other.
They don't speak or anything. Unless
No, they don't speak.
Having an argument with him.
They just text, and it's like, how is he in a relationship? But that's his character. He's that much of a pussy that he can't just cut the cord. She obviously wants nothing to do with him.
Yeah, it's a complete walkover. You can see that, can't you?
Oh yeah.
That's it. And then she takes him over towards the axe throwing area.
Yeah.
And then starts throwing the axes. And when he throws his first axe, because Cecily hits it straight away.
Yeah.
Axe goes in. He tries it, completely misses. He's like, oh, it must be the English measurements.
Yeah, the European measurements. Oh yeah, they use metric, don't they? Yeah, but no, a little bit of bonding session here. They're getting a bit closer. But I like as well, just before this, it's mentioned why he's come to Beaverfield. And the reason he's come to Beaverfield is because some of his friends back in his old town convinced him to fish in a pond without a permit. And they filmed it and put it in social media. And that's why he's left the town to come here.
So
because he fished without a permit.
If he gets sacked, move on.
Yeah, because he fished in a pond without a permit. But, yeah, so after they've done the axe scene, they get a bit closer and they start talking about a poet that she's been reading, Walden. I don't like bits like this in films.
No?
Because it's like, oh, I read this poetry and it changed my life.
They both said that, didn't they, as well? Like when he was younger, he read it changed his life. She said the same thing as well.
I think he said something like he read it when he was 15 and it changed his life and it's the reason he wanted to be a park ranger. I don't know if it's more sad or just real life, but I can't say I've ever read a book where it's like, oh, it's completely changed my life. Especially poetry. Who the fuck reads poetry? Controversial opinion.
Selected for you, still do it.
Anyway, I like this bit because in the next scene they go to have the first kiss.
Oh,
and leaning in. She goes, "Can I kiss you?" And he leans in for the kiss. And then his phone rings. It's his fucking ex-missus. Fucking answers it and she's like, "What? Is this really happening? Are you serious?" I was laughing.
See her just walking off in the background, grabbing over again. Proper angry, you can tell when she walks off. He's on the phone like, yeah, I'm just out shopping.
Yeah. Can you tell what his missus is actually asking? No, she's got a flat tire. And I think because he says to her, well, you need the AAA card for that. Like the AA.
Ah, is that what it is? I put a credit card, yeah.
No. So, got a flat tire, so she's ringing the boyfriend, or the ex-boyfriend in her eyes, probably. And then, as with all horror movies, in a small town in winter, the storm hits.
Oh, yeah.
And the power goes out.
Hits.
Always has to be the power going out.
Well, technically, it wasn't the storm that took the power out, was it?
Well, what was it?
We don't know yet.
Well, you see later on, there's a landslide covering the road, and he sees the power pole.
Yeah, but also the generators road, they've been damaged, haven't they?
Yes.
Road generators have been sabotaged.
Yeah. So the power goes out next morning. Yeah, so in the next scene I quite like because Trish is letting a dog out. It's late at night. Lazy bitch just puts a bloody lead on him, retractable lead, and lets him out the doggy flap and just stood there having a fag. And next thing is the dog disappears and the lead comes back. And then she's screaming and it wakes Finn up and you're like, hold on, why are they there? But she's at the hotel screaming. Next day. Everyone gathered round.
But one thing that did kill me with this, right, is Joaquin. Like we were saying before, it's quite a bit of dark humor which comes out of it. And you got to listen to the characters as well, what they're saying behind in the distance and stuff. So as they're all talking and saying like little Chi-Chi's is being killed and she's there on the floor screaming. Joaquin turns around and says to her, your dog only barks at Jews and black people.
Well, have you noticed as well when when they're talking about the dog, and he's like, "Oh no, this is so bad. Is it a dog or a human?" Yeah. What are we talking about here? But the bit I love is Finn comes down the stairs, and they all kind of stare at him, and they're telling him about the dog, and then they go, "Doctor, what do you think about this?" And he's like, they're all like looking at him, and he moves to one side, and the doctors come down the stairs, and she's like, "Well, it's a little early to tell. Plus, I've no idea what you're on about." Literally just walked in the room.
Have you noticed that doctor? She pops up everywhere.
I love that character though.
She doesn't, like, you don't see her walking in. It's literally a case of just her head just pops up off the side, or pops from behind from somewhere, or hiding behind somebody perfectly.
She plays it so well though. It's like you say, she's just there. She's so dry and kind of just serious all the time. But like the way like when she's getting the hair samples off the victims and stuff, and she'll just suddenly just pop up, take a sample, take a photo, and then sod off.
Yeah, it just disappears again.
Yeah.
Like, where did she come from?
Yeah. But when she comes down the stairs and they're like, "So what do you think, Doctor?" And she's like, well, it's a bit early to tell, plus, because I hate that in films when there's quite clear a character's not been there, but they come along and they just happen to know everything that's going on.
Yeah, that's a good trope, that, isn't it? In films, that's like, say, characters not really been in it or anything, not seeing anything about them, but they're right up to date with everything that's going on as well. Yeah,
well, that's it.
It's quite
they've not been in any scenes.
A little bit later on, we come over towards Finn, and he's been outside with his binoculars having a look at the area, what's been happening. We see the avalanches now come across the roads, and he comes in, tells everybody, he's like, "Well, everybody, the roads are all down. We're trapped here for the night due to the avalanches. Oh, and I found a dead body underneath the porch."
Yeah, I do like this scene. It's very well done because he kind of walks in and he's kind of like a little bit lost in himself, and it's like, obviously he's just discovered a dead body under the porch. And he's walking in, and I think Janine says to him, "What's up? You look like you've just seen a corpse." And he's like, "Well, yeah, the generators have been destroyed." And as he's walking in, and they're all arguing in the background, and he's just there still. And I love that scene where he's just there, kind of holding his hat, pondering what he's just seen, and they're all arguing behind him, and he's like, "Also, there's a dead body on your porch."
It's going funny, and then he leads them all outside, and he's like, "Yeah, I put it on the table for you."
Yeah, I didn't want to leave it out for you, but then another cinema shot, another shot where you've got the body on the table, but then they've got everyone around it. See, there's some quite good little scenes in this, and then the doctor pops up with a camera out of nowhere and starts taking samples.
That's it. Again, it's like Joaquin in the background, so you can hear him and stuff like that, and Marcus with Gwen.
But the other bit I love is like, they've just found the dead body, and it turns out that it's Dave, Janine's husband, who we all think has run off to wherever it was, Belize. But all she cares about is a bloody dog that's gone missing. And it's like, every time Dave's mentioned, and it's like, and my dog as well. And it's like, yeah, someone's just died. This woman's husband's just been found out he's not run off, that she's dead.
She pretty much does that all the way through, though, doesn't she, with a lot of things, yeah.
But Trish just only giving an F about a dog. but like that bit where they're arguing as well, and he's like, when he walks in from finding the corpse, and I think Pete in the background, like you were saying before, you've got to kind of listen to the people arguing in the background as well. And it's like, Joaquin's like, "Use your indoor voice," and he's like, "I'll use my outdoor voice." The way she just, all she cares about is this bloody dog.
All the time.
Hilarious.
Another scene as well, what cracks me up as well, the next one will come over to us. And it's Flynn discussing with the group, saying we need help. So somebody comes up with the idea, speak to Emerson, the hunter, see if you can go there, help him and that lot. And then Marcus says, "You can't go there, he's psycho." Flynn replies, "Well, you can come with me if you want." Marcus, "Hell no."
"Oh, hell no." And he's like, "Cecily, you can come with me."
Like, nobody wants to go and see Emerson, do they?
Yeah, because there's a bit of tension between Finn and Cecily, because obviously they went, last time we probably seen them together, they went to have a kiss, and then Finn walks off with his phone to his ex-girlfriend or current girlfriend or whoever the hell she is.
It's still got a bit of a grudge against him, hasn't she?
Yeah, so they have a little bit of an argument on the way to Emerson. But then then one of the next scenes is you've got Trish sat there while they're all talking in the background about the gas pipeline and what they're all going to gain from it. I think they mentioned that Trish wants to open up a craft shop.
Yep.
But she's just sat there knitting. The first time I watched it, I didn't realise it was her. I just thought, who's this weird old lady in front of the fire knitting? It's a bit of a weird scene.
Yeah.
I didn't quite get why he was there. I know they're trying to give a bit of context to the characters, and they keep bringing up the gas pipeline, which is a good little side story to it. But I just don't get why she's there knitting just constantly while they're talking. It
reminded me of, the Stephen King film Misery.
Yeah.
Of that character.
Oh yeah, the Kathy Bates character.
Yeah, it reminded me of something similar to that, and I think they was trying to brood it up. She's a little bit of a crackpot, and it's like she's getting more and more, worked up now, because everyone's arguing in the background, aren't they, about the pipeline. So Joaquin and Devon are saying like they don't need the money. Marcus is saying with Gwen like they want the money. Same with Trish, and people are saying like who could have killed the husband? Because I think they mentioned as well that Janine might have killed her husband.
Yeah, because it's rumored a bit. Because the thing I do like about this, obviously, as I mentioned before, werewolves in the title, but they kind of keep you on suspense because it's still a whodunit, and it's kind of like, did Janine kill her husband? Who took the dog? That's where we're up to with this. So it's like, well, who's doing this? Could it be that Janine's just, killed her husband because I think he was happy to go ahead with the pipeline?
Yeah.
Where she wasn't. She didn't want to sell a hotel. She wanted to stay there and so on. So there's always a bit of that in the background. But obviously, we know from the first scene, he got attacked in the woods because it's Dave, her husband, who gets attacked in the woods. But I'm not sure if we find that out yet. I don't know if we find that a bit later. But obviously, spoilers. We should maybe say that at the beginning that there's spoilers.
Yeah, there's always spoilers in our podcast when we're discussing the films.
Yeah, we always recommend that you maybe watch the film before you listen to this.
You can play along as well. Let us know down in the comments what your thoughts on our scene as well, if you want to try and play along with it all.
Yeah.
We're moving over. We've got Emerson. We're back in his cabin. We've got Flynn with Cecily talking to Emerson and discussing like to be a helpful neighbor. Why don't you come and help find this wild coyote or the wolf, whatever it is that's killing people?
And they're like, well, everyone got together and we all, your name came up that we want you to go and hunt this person. And then Cecily kicks in and says, yeah, maybe led by you. And we got a lovely bit of cinematography here when they're all stood around the bar and they're talking about how they think Janine might have offed her husband. This is where they fill us in where Dave her husband was for the pipeline. She was against it. But I just love how, it kind of zooms out, and then as the characters come in, and then it's the first point when they mentioned werewolves. But I just love the way the scene is filmed, when it's just, like I say, when it's just zooming out slowly, and then you have the three characters at the bar, then Marcus pops up at the back, and then you have Devon and Joaquin come in. And I just like that bit, and it was funny as well when you've got Trish really in the background, because Marcus keeps dropping a few F-bombs, and then she's like in the background just language, and then he's like, well, who else do we know that's hairy and can take down generators? Werewolves. Emerson Flint.
Is that I wasn't really going to say that, but Emerson Flint.
Yeah, so the film kind of shifts towards where we start to think that it could be Emerson. So the guy in the woods from the beginning, where he's kind of this loner, very hairy, and they find the dog collar in his house while they've gone to visit them, and obviously we know so far that the doctor keeps picking hairs up, and he's got this big bushy beard, so it's kind of like pointing in his direction. But I must admit, when I was in this part of the film, I was thinking, I don't know, it's a bit too easy for it to be him. I know he's a bit of a loner. It'd just be too easy for it to just pin it all on him.
Yeah, and they try and make the character a little bit more dangerous, don't they? Because when they're trying to exit, they're like trying to open the door, they're struggling to get in, panicking to try and get out. Emerson slowly walks up towards him. You see him reaching over, and then more panic kicks in as they're struggling to open the door. Yeah. And he just flicks the lock lets them out. And like, oh, yes, thank you.
No, but when they do that type of thing in films, it pisses me off a bit because you think if you took away the suspenseful music as he's walking towards, because he says, "Oh, let me help you out," but they're saying, "Oh, we don't want to die," and all stuff like that. And it's like he can clearly hear you. Why does he not acknowledge that you just stood there all suddenly freaked out? You'd be like, "What's going on, guys? Why are you suddenly wanting to leave?" But if you took away that suspenseful music and just left it as a normal scene, if that happened in real life, you'd be a bit like, what's going on? So I didn't really like that too much. Yeah. I know, obviously, they're trying to point it towards him by finding the collar, but we learn a bit more about that later. But I don't know. It didn't really do it for me, that bit.
No, I thought it was all right. I quite liked it.
What did you like about it?
It's just like the comedy aspects of it, the way you see the both characters just panicking, thinking that they're going to be killed. You hear the story, don't you, of like Emerson's this like dangerous character.
Yeah, I get that, but it's just the fact that they stood at the door 2 feet away from him, basically saying, "I don't want to die, don't hurt me," or whatever it is they say.
Yeah. I can understand where you're coming from with that. And
it's like, if I was letting someone out of my house and they started doing that, I'd at least take a step back and be a bit like, "What are you on about? I'm going to kill you. Are you mad?"
We are in film world after all.
Well, I don't know, but come on. Bit of realism. So then we've got Finn and Cecily come back to tell them what they found at Emerson's, the collar of the dog. And I just love this bit because they're like, "Oh, well, Emerson did it."
Finn's like, "Whoa, we can't jump to conclusions now."
Yeah. But then Pete's reaction, because Trish starts breaking down, "Oh, he killed me, dog." And he's like, "Oh, no, all she wants is closure. And we got closure. Emerson did it. Right, who wants some wine, guys?"
Yeah. Chichi's got her wings. Yeah. Oh, and so's Dave. Yeah. Like, nobody cares that Dave's died.
Dave's the afterthought. That's what... It's just so funny. It's like no one gives a fuck. Janine's there walking around grieving all the time in tears. No one gives a fuck. Dave's dead. They just found him mauled like less than an hour ago in film time.
They're not even buried him or anything. They still care about the dog.
He's still on the front covered up by a tarp. But then that takes us to the next scene where you've got Janine looking at a picture of Dave crying, and then the hand appears behind her, grabs her.
And it's the doctor.
And it's
jumping out of nowhere.
Yeah, but what she says to her, so she grabs her by the shoulder, Janine turns round and screams, and the doctor goes, oh my God, what a terrible noise that was. But just no one gives a fuck that Dave is dead. Dave must have been a right dick. I mean, Christ.
Nobody, like you say, puts their arms around and says, "Are you okay, Janine? Do you know what I mean? Things get better." It's just, they ignore the fact that he's dead.
Everyone cares more about the fucking Chi-Chi, the dog, than they do about Dave. Dave must have been a right dick.
But his tension is starting to build, apparently. Like, trust is not there now between everybody. And because they think it's Emerson, they've got a feeling that he's going to be coming after him. He's going to like hunt them down one by one. Then Flynn asks the question, "Who's packing?" And literally every single person other than Flynn and Cecil, I'm not packing. Everybody else, I've got a gun. Even Trish pulls out a little gun and says, "Oh, I've got a little one. Does this count?"
Yeah, but everyone just whacks out guns. I think the only ones, like you say, you haven't. I think it's Joaquin and Devon, and then Cecily. They all decide they're going to stay at the hotel. Safety in numbers. They've all got these guns, so they're like, "Well, we need at least one gun per room." And they're all like, "Well, who's not got a gun? Who's got a gun?" And it's like, "Oh, well, we may have to double up a bit." And I just love that bit when Finn goes to Cecily. "Well, you don't mind doubling up, do you?" And she's like, "Hold on a sec."
Yeah. And Pete turns around and goes, "Well, I've got a gun, but if anybody wants to share a room with my gun," Cecily, you want to share a room? I mean, I've got the gun, but that's it, because I think we forgot to mention earlier that we know that Gwen and Pete have slept together. Yeah, I did forget to mention that, actually.
Yeah, in the sugary room. So they had an affair, or they slept together, but it seems to be common knowledge from the town. But yeah, and so he's a proper sleazebag.
Definitely, he keeps trying it all the time with Cecily and Gwen as well.
Yeah, definitely.
One of the scenes a few earlier is when they were talking about the closure. Pete grabs a bottle of champagne, grabs Gwen's ass, Gwen turns around and says, I'm going to cut your hand off for it.
Yes.
Which then happens, if you bring to the next scene, is when Pete's asleep.
Yes.
And then we see like a little bit of a scene where he's asleep. The camera comes over towards him, dead close. So you can see it from third person's view. Trish wakes up and you just see Pete's legs then getting dragged down the corridor, don't you?
Yeah, because the question I had about this scene is how does Pete not see that it's a wolf or a werewolf or what it is? Because he's asleep in bed, and I can't tell whether someone's getting on the bed, but then we find out when he gets dragged from the bed that Trish is asleep next to him. But it's almost like something comes in and grabs his arm. Pete wakes up, screams. Trish gets up just as we see Pete being dragged out the door. It's like, how did he not see what was attacking him?
He's been shot as well. Because Gwen comes out, fires about 16 rounds with a gun.
She just goes for it, and
she just goes for it, mate. Shoots him twice. I think it's one in the chest and one in the arm or something like that. So he's got his hands cut off, or bitten off, shall I say.
Yeah.
He's been shot by Gwen. But then later on as well is when they're all talking, which is quite a funny moment as well, because Marcus goes to Flint, like, oh, you've got tiny hands.
Yeah.
Then Flint's like, I've not got small hands. Then somebody says, well, Pete's missing a hand. And Pete turns around and goes, what? I'm missing a hand? So maybe it could be like a bit of delusional in there. No, he doesn't know what exactly happened if he doesn't remember his hand's been cut off.
Yeah.
Well.
But you'd think you'd at the very least say it was an animal. Or
of some sort, yeah.
It was a human, or, you'd have a general gist of what just bit your hand off. But anyway, until the day I'm dragged out of bed by a werewolf and I get my hand bitten off and shot, then maybe I'll feed back to what I saw.
One of the other scenes as well is with the doctor. She takes the samples, goes off into a room.
Yeah.
And then Flynn goes to tell her what's going to be happening, like the game plan and stuff. And then she starts shooting through the door, doesn't she?
She does. Because at this point, you see her throughout the film, every time there's an attack or a discovery, even when they bring the collar back from Emerson's, she's taking hair samples and she's running them through a database. Now, the question I had about this was, I understand that she's got power for computers and lab equipment and so on, because she's got the batteries. But is a database on a laptop? Because
the werewolves?
I know. And the fact that when she is running the test, all it does is it comes up saying that it's inconclusive. Now, that could just be a failed test, or that particular animal just doesn't appear in the database. The fact that it's just inconclusive, it just means we failed to identify it. So why does she get all worked up about that? Obviously, I think we learn a bit later that she has kind of been following the activity of this werewolf, or whatever the animal they think it is at the time. But she obviously thinks it's a werewolf because she's the one that says, I can't remember the term she uses. What is it, Lycancroft, or?
It's lichen somewhat.
She kind of plants the idea in the head that it is a werewolf. And she wants to stay alone, but I just don't see why they just don't leave her alone.
Yeah. And then Sam tries to get in, doesn't he? So he goes around the back entrance to get into the room from a different way.
Does that say, Sam says, is there another door into the room? Janine gives him the keys. But why don't they just leave him alone? Now, the other thing I picked up on as well, on my second watch, was, so he goes into the room, you don't see what happens, all you hear is the gun going off. But she shoots herself twice. And then he comes in and says, oh, she killed herself. But there was 2 gunshots.
That's why I thought, it's like, it doesn't add up. Who shoots himself twice?
Bang, bang. Bang, bang. I mean, maybe in the body, but if you're going to kill yourself, who's going to shoot yourself in the body? You go for the head, and who shoots twice? Pete clearly killed her. She's the environmentalist in town to try and poo-poo his gas line idea. But, it's mentioned that they do kill him, that they think that he may be off her. But no one seems to mention that there was 2 gunshots.
No, that's it. Not a single person picked up on it. Like, she killed herself. Oh, okay.
Yeah, all right then.
Just crack on with it, don't we?
I think it's just Janine later on when they're all so they come to a head. It's night. Doctors just killed themselves, and they're all kind of gathered round, and then they all start pointing fingers. And I think Pete says to Janine, "Well, isn't it funny how your husband's turned up dead?" And And then it's just, how do we know she killed herself? Well, I'm pretty sure she never, because no one shoots themselves twice.
Yeah.
I mean, and he shot the door out as well when he goes through, if you notice.
Did he?
Yeah, when he goes to the door, there's a gunshot going through the door. Or something happens, because something definitely comes through the door hole. So then we come to a scene later on after Pete's hands bit off. They've just been attacked. They're all together, and the tension's starting to build. Everyone's accusing each other. You know, you've got Trish accusing Janine. You've got what's his name, Sam, accusing the newcomers.
Yeah.
Or do they accuse him for being a newcomer? Oh, Janine accuses him for being a newcomer, and he's like, "Well, Finn and Cecily are. They're newcomers. Why haven't they done anything? Why are they being accused?" But no, they're all putting out their theories. Obviously, the doctor's mentioned about the possibility of there being a werewolf.
And then everyone starts coming up with their own version of the urban legends of werewolves.
Yeah.
In example, Gwen.
Yeah, so Gwen stands up and goes, "When I was a kid, my daddy used to kick my ass." But I love that bit because she says it and everyone's just like, there's just a pause and everyone goes, "Okay." And then she talks about local urban legends about people who used to be chasing off werewolves out of the local area.
Yeah, or if they misbehave, the werewolf will come and take them away. And then Joaquin mentions the seventh born. It's like the werewolves. That's why they killed the seventh born.
Now, if you've been watching closely near the beginning, you'll notice someone's mentioned that it was seventh born. But I won't give it away just yet. If you've been watching closely, you might pick up on it.
Not just yet.
But yeah, so it all escalates into, I'm going to say, a Mexican standoff.
Can't say Mexican, baby. Just a standoff.
Yeah, so they all have a standoff. They're all pointing their guns at each other. So what did he do? What do you do in this situation? Let's just gather the guns up.
Yeah, lock them away outside.
Away. You really wouldn't know, would you?
No.
No, there's no way. You've just seen Pete get his hand mauled off. Something's dragged him out of the room. And all because they just start pointing guns at each other. It's like, right, let's just wrap it up. But yeah, they gather the guns and they lock them in the room. But then what I don't get is he throws the key out the window.
Yeah. Why would you throw it outside the window?
Why?
That's what I don't get.
Why not just keep a key? One of you, Finn, just pocket the key. One of you keeps it. He's obviously the most clear-headed in this.
That's it. Because if shit goes south, you're going to need them guns, aren't you?
Well, so far, everyone in the town, other than Finn, has an ulterior motive due to this gas line. So you're kind of looking at each of them. Because I working my way through it, I never really suspected Finn at any point.
No, I didn't. Quite a few characters that I thought. But then there was a scene a little bit later on with Finn. What you think? Possibly.
Yeah.
Missed the twist.
Yeah, a bit later on, you do kind of get that because we'll discuss that bit a bit later on. But then you've got Pete sat by the fire, and I love this bit because he's looking at his hand and he's like, "Maybe I'm a werewolf. Maybe I ate my own hand off." The one question I had about this scene though isn't the law of werewolves that if someone gets bitten by a werewolf on a full moon, that they then become a werewolf?
That is true.
I thought it would have been quite good if at this point he turned into a werewolf right in front of him.
Yeah, that would be quite good.
That would have been quite cool.
Yeah.
But to keep the comedy alive, it turns out that he's just being a bit nutty Pete.
Yeah, he's lost a bit of blood, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's quick ones as well. You ever used to watch the TV series called Modern Family?
Yes.
Right. Don't you think? Like, you had two gay guys on there, didn't you?
Yes.
Right, the big one and the ginger one. I absolutely love them characters on Modern Family. Don't you think Devon and Joaquin have the same dynamic? They're like the way they are with each other. One's the serious, a bit dry, and then you got the camp one, the big one from Modern Family.
Cameron and Mitchell.
Yeah. They're so funny. Them two. It just reminds me of them two. Chemistry together and stuff. The way the bouncer feature. One's dry and serious. One's like a bit more comical and a bit dafter.
Yeah, no, they are good characters, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's married them quite a lot.
We'll go into a bit more about the characters later on, but yeah, I do like them. They do work well together.
So right now as well, we've got a little bit of a movie cliche, really, haven't we? When
we
have one of the characters mention the title of the film, and this is Flynn doing it. I kind of like it the way they do that though, because he mentions the title, then he goes,
"Yeah,
the house."
When werewolves are within the house.
Yeah, I kind of like it the way they do that. It's like they're making it cliche because, like, Will Smith, an example with the Suicide Squad, when he goes, "What? So we're some type of Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad
on a mission."
Yeah,
and then obviously these do it, knowing they're doing it, it's trying to protect the business. Like, werewolves within the house. Yeah, I kind of like that.
Yeah, no, it's good. If you're going to have to do it in the film, then there's worse ways to do it.
Definitely.
So then the whole scene kind of escalates into everyone deciding they're going to leave and fend for themselves. But the one thing I did notice is when they're all leaving the house, you'd think they'd want the gun back.
Not one person asked about it, did they?
No. You've got Marcus and Gwen leave. I think they're the first to leave. And it's like, well, why not take your gun? Also, when Trish decides to leave and takes Pete with her, you wouldn't take your clearly dying husband out into the snowy cold in the middle of the night when he's just been half-eaten anyway and shot. He clearly needs medical attention. He's sat in front of a warm fire. Why are you taking him outside? Yeah. He's already clearly suffering from some kind of shock. Yeah.
Yeah, and at this point, everybody starts going against each other now, aren't they?
Yeah. So it's all like kind of every man for themselves. Now, the next bit I don't get is Trish kind of snaps, doesn't she? So she gets home, she's taking care of Pete. I do like that bit though when she's caring for him and she's holding up his head, and then she kind of wanders off in a world of her own and just lets his head go. His head. Just drops his head. But anyway, she's staring out the window, but I don't kind of buy that she would go that psycho. Maybe in a fit of rage, she'd maybe shoot someone. But the fact that you've got Devon and Joaquin walking through their maple farm, their maple vineyard, or whatever the fuck they call it, and out of nowhere, lights come on. Joaquin does one. Devon's left there on his own. And then who does it turn out to be? Trish. And how does she kill him?
With a maple tap.
Yeah. I mean, that's some kind of psycho level shit.
Straight into his neck as well. She even says, doesn't she? It's like, this is where the sweet stuff comes from. And then stabs it into his neck.
Exactly. Now, I don't buy it. All this because she wants to sell. She wants to sell her land, and she wants a craft shop. And I know he did comment earlier on that it looks like you're not getting your craft shop, Trish, but it's next level psycho shit that to fucking hunt them down in the woods while there's a werewolf out, and obviously she knows she's not the werewolf. You wouldn't leave the fucking house.
It's what as a character though, like from scene one of we meet her, and she seems a little bit cuckoo. Yeah. No, it just seems a little bit doolally anyway for everything. And then when she's doing the knitting, it gets mentioned up as well, like Gwen had the affair with Pete. So I think it could be like a lot of things building up, and now it's just like snap.
Yeah, but I don't know. The first time, even the second time I watched it, I didn't really buy that character has snapped. Yeah, she's a bit nutty. I would maybe if she had just shot him, or, you know, that type of thing, or like attacked him, but to get that vicious that she rips a tap out of a tree and says, this is where the sweet stuff comes out, and then stabs him in the neck.
How psycho does she look, though?
I know, I just don't kind of buy it. And even a bit later on when she goes a little bit more loopy, even then, that I don't know, that I buy a little bit. But it's just the whole idea of her stabbing Devon to death with a maple tree, whatever they're called, that they get the sap out. Yeah, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I don't know about you, but I don't know if it's just me being picky.
I think you're being a little bit picky there because, like you say, I just see her as a little bit of a nutcase who's just snapped completely.
But I suppose she doesn't really value human life too well. She doesn't really give two fucks about her husband that he's just had his hand chopped off. and he's been shot. She doesn't really give him much care and attention. I mean, you can see that later on when he's literally dying on the couch and she drops his head. And the fact that she doesn't give two fucks that Dave has just been found mauled to death on the porch. She's more concerned about her little Chi-Chi. Is it Chi-Chi? Chachi. Chachi. The little fucking dog. I mean, she loves that dog, but she's got to be a bit of a psycho.
I think she is. I think she's just an absolute psycho from the start. But she just gets a little bit more.
Yeah, but she starts off as a bit of an eccentric character, a bit kooky, but to go as far as to hunt someone down in the middle of the woods at the dead of night, I'm sorry, but this is a pretty far-fetched film anyway, but yeah. I don't know. I just don't buy it. But yeah.
I think he's trying to compare it too much to like real life.
I don't know. I like my films to have a bit of realism to them.
I don't know. It's about a werewolf.
See, with me, with films, I like my characters to be well developed. I like them to kind of if you're developing a character, I don't know how you would have built it in that she was a bit of a psycho, but to go from 0 to 100 mile an hour, stabbing people in the neck with a tap, I'm not buying it.
Oh, this other scene got me as well. So Sam has gone after Flynn and Cecily.
Cecily.
Yeah.
Cecil.
I don't know why I keep saying Cecil.
I don't know. You've got Cecils on your brain, mate.
Every single week, I mess up with names, though. I'm really bad at butchering names.
You do have a habit of it, yeah.
I'm sorry about this, guys. I don't mean to do it.
Yeah.
Cecily.
I think we should maybe just make a little video of you, little outtakes of you saying the wrong name.
It's going to be so mad. That'll be a podcast on its own, mate. 2 hours long.
If anybody'd like me to go through them all and maybe make it into a little short, maybe comment below.
I've done it on so many ones. I have.
I'm sure there's plenty of things I mess up on.
It's because I do bare minimum research on it. I did a bare minimum research just to get me through, and it kind of barely gets me through. And I just butcher the names of the characters, even though it's the lead character as well.
I know. Say it with me, though. Cecily. And again, Cecily. Why is it not?
Cecily.
It's not Cecil.
So Cecil and Flynn are down. We're messing with you, don't we?
Go on.
So Flynn and Cecily trying to hide from Sam. Yes. And they're talking. And it's this bit here, it gets me.
So just before you go to that, so just to add a bit of context, Sam decides to leave the park, and he goes to the back of his truck, and just there, perfectly all set up, in the back of his truck is this nice crossbow set, couple of grenades, in the boot of his car.
Yeah. Night vision. He's been waiting, he's been ready, hasn't he, for this?
Yes.
Preparing all his life.
He has been preparing. But we do find out that he has kind of been following rumours of a werewolf or something out in the woods. So he's kind of been prepared for this. So go on, carry on. What were you saying?
Yep. So as they're hiding underneath the basement, well, the floor of the hotel. Yep. Oh, this bit gets me.
Are you okay?
Yeah. Are you?
Yeah. Why is that bird a scary cowboy?
It's the creepiest high, and it's Joaquin. He's hiding in the background, just puts a torch on his face. Like, sounds like Gollum. She turns around. I don't know if you noticed. Like, Cecily turns around and goes,
Cecily.
I just pissed myself.
Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah, but yeah, just the way he just happens to be there. So Sam's come into the house and decided to start hunting people with his crossbow randomly. And so they go and hide under the floorboards, and who happens to be there? What's his name? Joaquin. Because obviously Devon's just been tapped.
Oh, that's a good pun.
But so he's been tapped by Trish. So he tells them that Devon's just been tapped, or that they were last seen. He was last seen by Trish's house. So they decide to go to Trish's house. Now this scene makes me laugh because they walk into Trish's house, and who did he find there?
It's Marcus. He's absolutely lost the plot.
Marcus has decided to go around robbing everyone while all the power's off. And
he's actually made his own Freddy Krueger style like glove. He's sellotaped kitchen knives to his hands. It's like, I'm the wolf, bitch. Hey, maybe you're the wolf. No, I'm the wolf. No, I'm the real wolf. I'm going to loot everybody so it looks like the wolf's done it.
That's it. So he's going around robbing everyone, leaving claw marks, I can only assume, with this knife hand. I mean, this guy's nuts. But the scene just after this, I thought was hilarious. I laughed out loud at this bit. He walks outside the house and he's talking to them, taunting to them as he walks off. And he's walking backwards. And then all of a sudden, boom, he gets hit by a car. Gwen reverses into him, starts shouting, "Hey, Marcus, come on, I've not got all night." And then all of a sudden, she then gets shot by Trish.
Chaos just breaks out so quickly.
Chaos in that one little scene. And then you've got Cecily, Finn, sorry, and Joaquin just stood on the doorstep, and it's just their reactions just like, okay, let's just go back inside the house. But just that whole scene, how quickly it just happens. Bam, car,
that's
boom,
it.
shot.
And they run off to the back, don't they?
Yeah. So they lock Trish out the house. Trish tries to follow him into the house. She's walking around the front of the house and she's like, "Oh, I know another way in." Goes round the back of the house as they're walking out, and boom, there's Trish.
It's just Joaquin again with his little comments in the background, isn't it?
Oh, I know.
It's like, why is she Michael Myers?
That's it. That's what I do like about this film. It's just these little comments that come out that you'll just miss them. If you're not listening, you'll miss them. And they're the funny bit. But it's just this little scene here. But there was one question I had. Where the fuck did Trish get a gun from?
She didn't put it in a...
Do we know this for certain?
I mean, we could go back and rewatch this section when everybody put the guns away, but yeah, she's got her
Suppose
little
we can.
gun.
Yeah, because she keeps going on about this little gun, but we'd have to watch it carefully to see if it is actually put in the pile when they put the guns down. But just the fact that she's walking around with a gun, like she maybe could have had another one at home, maybe. But then she's holding them up in the living room at gunpoint, and Joaquin smacks her, and her head goes straight into the furnace.
So it just melts, doesn't it?
Her head's just in the furnace burning. I shouldn't laugh, but yeah, she definitely got what she deserved there.
Yeah, definitely. And then Sam happens to be outside with his crossbow night vision goggles. Tries to get Flynn. So he thinks it's Flynn who's the werewolf at this point, doesn't he? But then Joaquin asks, like, why is he hunting you? Then he goes, because I'm new here. Cecily is the 7th born child. And then, I don't know about you. Why is after you? And then Joaquin clocks on then, doesn't it?
That should give a little clue to someone what you just said then. I won't repeat it. But yeah, so there's a bit of another standoff. It gets a little bit more serious here because Sam's obviously stood there with his crossbow, and then suddenly Joaquin's got Cecily at gunpoint.
That's it. And that is down to the 7th born because his legends, he believes.
Yes.
Right there. So he starts freaking out, goes a little bit crazy. And then when he actually gets hit, I believe Sam is actually meant to shoot Flynn.
Do you think?
Yeah, because when
he kind of goes...
He flinches as if it's like hit his arm.
Yeah, because he skims past his arm, doesn't it? And then hits Joaquin in the stomach, because Sam does think that it is Finn at this point. Because earlier on, we kind of skipped past this bit, but Cecily and Finn go into Sam's room and they find the knife that's wrapped in kind of cloth, isn't it? And Finn says to Cecily, "Does this smell of diesel?" So he kind of looks like he's maybe tampered with the generators. But if you look at the generators at the beginning, they're all torn up. How are you doing that with a little fiddly knife?
You got no chance. I was thinking that myself. It's like...
Because it looks like claw marks, because they automatically think it's an animal. But you're not doing that with a little knife. I mean, it's only like a little fiddly kitchen knife. Sorry?
You wouldn't do it multiple times either, would you?
No.
I mean,
you really wouldn't. But then, they mention this to Sam, and Sam says, "Well, I found that knife in your room." So, it kind of...
Somebody's playing them.
Somebody is playing them. Somebody is playing them. Anyway, so he gets hold of Cecily. Sam gets hold of Cecily and holding him. Well, what is it, by crossbow point? But another little bit I noticed is Sam and Finn have a little bit of a tussle.
Yeah.
Now, do you notice another thing from a Ubisoft game there?
I certainly did. The Assassin's Creed knife out of his sleeve.
Yes. As soon as I seen it, I thought Ubisoft Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed.
So he has a little knife that kind of springs out of his sleeve and stabs Finn. Now that will come in useful later about him being stabbed, because I've got a little bit to say about that. But then we have Joaquin, who is still alive. He shoots the gas. So the thing we mentioned at the beginning, where he's got his phallus with the 2 gas tanks and so on, and he shoots it. But I just love how as he shoots it, it zooms out to the valley where the town is, and you just see this huge fireball come up. And then that with the full moon in the background as well. I just thought that's funny.
It was good.
I don't know how they survived it though. They end up going back to the axe throwing place, the bar that Cecily's looking after, because apparently she delivers packages there. And then Finn is on the brink of death. He's been stabbed.
I noticed that as well, because like I say, it was a real serious stab wound, and it was a big knife that went right into him as well. He's only injured for a couple of minutes by the looks of it. It's like it makes a remarkably quick recovery, doesn't it?
He does indeed. So this is where we get the reveal. So Cecily goes off to try and find something to tend to Finn's wounds, leaving Sam alone on the couch. He goes to the toilet, and then he hears a phone ringing. Now, my first question is, it's like a text message thing, but it's the same one from the very beginning of the film. When we first meet Dave, we hear the phone going off.
Did you clock onto it the first time you watched it though?
No,
or was it
it's only on the second watch.
Yeah, same.
And I only noticed on the second that when he goes into the room and he finds the phone, and then he finds the postal badge, and it's Dave. Dave must have been the previous postal master.
Yeah.
The post person. Because he finds the badge there. So he's got Dave's badge, who's dead. And then he's starting to put 2 and 2 together. But the other thing I noticed...
fuel injector as well.
The fuel injector's there that Gwen asked for at the beginning. But the other thing I noticed as well, if you notice that Finn's angel that he got off Trish is in that room, as well as whatever that thing was, that sample that Pete gave him, are also in the room in the background. So who's put them there?
I mean,
why are they there?
Did she swipe them? Because when he went to see Emerson, he took the parcel and give her everything.
Maybe, I didn't realise that.
Took him then.
But I did notice that a little bit. But then obviously he walks out and he says to Cecily, "It's you, isn't it?" And it turns out the werewolf all along has been Cecily.
Yeah, it's been right in front of our eyes.
I like this and I don't. Right. So it's a good reveal. I didn't expect it. But at this point in the film, there was really no one else left for it to be.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty much everybody's dead now, aren't they?
Unless the only other characters alive, the last time we seen Janine was when there was a bit of a jump scare and they told her to go and wait in the room. We've not seen her since.
Yeah, I was about to say, I actually forgot about her, to be honest with you, until later.
But then we find out that Cecily's been playing them all. So she's been kind of stirring the pot, poking them, to kind of
make
it fight
look like
over this gas line.
Like incriminating other people and that.
Yeah, so we find out that she's been to other towns, which happen to also be the places that Finn have been. Because earlier on, I didn't want to mention it, but she finds a newspaper article in Sam's room when they go looking and they find the knife. And she acts all weird and strange, saying, "Isn't this the place you came from last?" And it's a report in the news about 2 dead bodies that have been found mauled.
Yeah.
But she looks scared in that scene. Why, on my second watch, after I knew it was her, why is she looking all scared? She knows she's the werewolf.
Because at that point, that's when it was trying to make, it was Flynn. So it made like Finn was the bad one. Because when he's hunched over with the knife and if it's going dead slow, making him look more sinister.
I get that from an audience point of view, the first watch, that you kind of, it's still up in the air. Who could be doing this? Could there be a werewolf? Obviously, it's in the title, so you know there is going to be a werewolf within somewhere. In fact, it's a plural, so there is possibly 2 werewolves within. Right?
Good, yeah.
But on the second watch, I don't get why she's acting all kind of funny about it. Anyway, the one thing I don't like is the fact that her character then is just completely destroyed. The fact that, you know, the whole thing, I don't get why she was trying to get it on with Finn. She kind of says, you know, you're a nicey guy. I didn't even like you. I faked it all. But why even go along with it? Why?
Playing with the food?
I know, but I would have preferred it if it's like, yeah, it's me. I'm a sick fucker. I'm a werewolf. But I kind of like you, Finn. I want you to come and join me. And then there maybe be a bit of a dilemma where Finn's like, well, this is a hot piece of ass. Maybe I want to join you. I only met you a day ago. Do I want to be a werewolf?
It could have been one of the routes she was aiming that.
But I don't know, because like you say, all she's wanted to do is play with her food. And I get the whole, she's turned the town against them. Her hands are clean. She's killed Dave. But
I think it was only Dave and the dog, really, she killed.
Dave and the dog, and she bit that guy's hand off. But he probably wouldn't have died if he hadn't been shot by Gwen. But I don't know. I just feel like they got to the end of the film and they're like, shit, we've still got a werewolf to announce. Cecily, you can be a werewolf. Fuck it. You're the werewolf. It's a good reveal. Don't get me wrong. But I just feel like it was rushed. And then after it, she starts turning, and it's a bit of a cheesy fucking shit turning scene. And the way she looks as a werewolf is laughable.
It reminded me of Teen Wolf.
It looked like a low-rent Teen Wolf. But then, the other thing that winds me up is they have a quick game of fucking hide and seek. Now, the scene where she's turned and Finn's hiding, right? It reminds me of when I play hide and seek with my 7-year-old. And I know clear as day that they're hiding in the corner, but I pretend not to see them. And do you know what I mean? It's like, first of all, she's a werewolf. He's bleeding heavily. He should be on death's door at this point. Right?
And she should be able to smell his blood.
That's what I mean. She should be able to smell his fucking blood. But yeah, he's hiding in the worst fucking place. Like, I think at one point he gets down behind the fucking jukebox. And it's just laughable. It's kind of like, there's nowhere really to hide here. Yeah. So I'll tell you what, you hide Finn, and Cecily, you pretend to look for him, because she's just going round and it'd be like me looking for you now and going, oh, you underneath this can. And the way she just throws a few bits away, it's just laughable. It just ruined the ending for me.
It did really laugh though, right? Is when she's walking away and Finn gets the axe. It's like the first 5 or 6 axes are just completely nowhere near her.
Oh, I know. I
like the first one, like when she got back to him, it hits the jukebox, she turns around, the music starts playing. Then he throws another one, she like just sidesteps it, and then throws another one, it hits something else.
Yeah. It just, like I say, do you agree? Do you feel like the ending was just rushed?
It was a little bit.
It was almost like we're getting to an hour and a half. I think we need to just wrap this up. Cecily, you're the werewolf. Get into makeup, love. We'll just have a quick scene where we kind of just put this to bed.
Yeah, like you say, when she first turns into a werewolf as well, Emerson comes in and knocks her over the head with a shovel.
Yes.
He's like, yeah, we've done it. No, we're all right, we killed her type thing. And then he gets bitten on his neck. Yeah. And that's when, obviously, starts looking for Finn. And then it's a snowshoe out of everything that he stabs her in the neck with.
Ah, I never noticed a snowshoe. So throughout the film, we've not mentioned it, but Finn has a kind of obsession with snowshoes. It's mentioned a few times. Every time they go out in the snow, it's always, we should have brought snowshoes. But she gets up 3 times. So Emerson knocks her down with a shovel. She gets back up. Finn stabs her with the snowshoe.
Snowshoe in the neck.
And then Finn gets back up. We think it's over. And then while Finn and Emerson are talking at the end, the camera zoomed in, you see her get up.
Talking about sandwiches.
Talking about the sandwiches. So who should turn up? Who have we forgot about up until now? Janine. The other thing as well, Janine kind of turns up like she knows exactly where the fuck she needs to be. She somehow has Sam's crossbow, and she kills it with one shot. So to me, the film was definitely let down by the ending there.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the only letdown with the film as well, as the very bit at the end. Yeah. Which, like you say, it's a little bit disappointing for it, isn't it?
So we've gone through the scenes. So if we just should we just have a quick chat about the characters then?
Yeah, go for it.
So the characters I liked Finn. I think from the start, the character development really good. He's a bit of a pushover. I like as well that he's kind of still like that at the end.
Yeah,
he's not. It's only film time. It's only been a day, so he's not grown that much. And he even says at the end, "Look, I'm a nice guy. Fuck you if you want me to change. It's just who I am."
Yeah,
he's a good guy. He's kind of been thrown into this mix, and I think he handles it quite well. He's a good character.
I think overall, there's not really any bad characters.
No, it's all very.
I quite liked every single one of them, like Ron little bits, even like Joaquin. At first, I wasn't a big fan of him, but then he grown on me. Little comments he kept making as well throughout.
It's good for a film of this budget. To me, it seems well written. It's not the best film in the world, don't get me wrong, but for character development, they do develop them quite well, and they all gel in quite well. Yeah. You kind of believe that they've all got that history behind them. You know, the little details that Pete is slept with Gwen in the past. That, you know, Trish is a bit nutty. You learn that pretty much straight off the bat. And then you've got the two guys that have moved there, you know, for a peaceful life. And then you've got the horrible Sam, who's there just to make a bit of money from them, to sell the land so they can build this gas pipe. So he's the evil industrialist, and you know. So there's quite a few characters to like, quite a few to not like. I like Cecily. I thought she was good.
Yeah.
So, you know, she's the postwoman of the town. She knows everyone. She takes Finn round at the beginning. I like that. I like, you know, it's like, come with me on my postal run. I'll introduce you to everyone. I think that was a good way of introducing characters. I like that.
And it wasn't too much at once as well, was it? 'Cause it was like two characters at a time as they're walking around.
Yeah, it wasn't really forced. It was quite believable because he got a letter, didn't he, about Emerson, so we had to go and see him anyway. So he was kind of like, well, I've got a package to deliver, come with me. So that was a good setup. I like the Doctor. The Doctor, her dry humour, some of the comments she makes, the way she acts in the film, you kind of, for a little minute, suspect that it could be her.
Yeah, I thought it was her at one point as well.
Yeah, but she was a great character.
On my first watch, I didn't really like her. I didn't really like it. I thought it was quite annoying the way she kept popping up, etc. But then the second time watching it, I mean, I give her a bit more benefit of the doubt, and it's like, sure, yeah, it's actually not too bad. The character knows the way to do it.
I think it was just a dryness of her humour in it. It was just well delivered and quite funny. Just little quibs that she had, you know, like when she disturbs Gwen when she's having a little sob after finding her husband dead. Not Gwen, Janine. Just the way she goes, oh my God, that noise you just made.
Oh, it's horrendous.
That noise was horrendous. But the character Emerson, I think he was just a bit of a scapegoat. You know, you always need a crazy guy in the woods who hunts and what have you, you know. Kind of a bit of a cliche in the film, you know.
Yeah, fits the villain.
Very much so. Yeah. Very much so.
So next up, we've got the awards for this film.
We do, yes.
So if you want to play along as well, guys, in the comments, let us know what are your thoughts on awards and who would you give the awards to. So the awards are the best actor or best actress.
Yes.
Now, do you want to go first?
Go on, I'll let you go first. You went first last week. You gone?
Yeah, for Cecil.
Cecily.
I said it on purpose, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure, yeah. So you're going with Cecily?
Yeah, Cecily.
Go on, why?
I think, like, say, throughout the whole thing, it had me conned. I didn't believe it was her. The chemistry was good between her and Finn as well, so the good character build-up was there.
Yeah.
I thought she handled it really well throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, about yourself?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you, to be honest. I do think she did it well. She's a good little actress. I'm not that's a bit condescending, to be honest. I take that back, but you know, I'd like to see her in more things.
Yeah,
I think she could probably handle a bit more range. She did well portraying both sides of it. Although we didn't see much of a bad side at the end, and I know I said I didn't like it, but she did it well. It was more of a kind of the story arc behind it rather than her acting. But no, I'd give you that. I'd say it was a close call between her and Sam Richardson, who played Finn.
That was my close one.
Yeah.
I was very tossed up between the two.
Yeah.
I couldn't really think which, because I really enjoyed Finn as a character as well, though, to be fair.
Yes, yeah, I did like his character.
I think he done really well on it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he has got an honourable mention.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. And next we go up for the worst actor award.
Yep.
I want to take you to the bank, Senator Trent. To the blood bank.
That is hosted by Steven Seagal.
Yes, Mr. Seagull himself.
Oh my God, that guy. We need to do one of his films very shortly, don't we?
We do.
We really do. Okay. My worst actor award, and like I say, this is only based on this film, not like their whole career or anything like that.
No.
And I've got to go for Janine.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's probably more of a character portrayal, if anything, to be honest with you, instead of like the acting ability, to be fair. It was just, she was very mopey, which obviously also was died and up and popping about.
You're worse than the characters in the film.
But yeah, I didn't believe that she was 100% like grieving. Do you know what I mean? The way she was, it was that bad acting of grieving, and it kind of like threw me off a little bit for her.
Yeah. From my point of view, I find it quite hard to do this one because there wasn't anyone who stood out as bad.
No, that's it. Everybody done well.
Not like the previous films. Yeah, everyone did well. Everyone flowed together. The relationships with everyone. But throughout the film, she was a little bit of an outsider from the rest of the group. So I don't know if that's kind of swayed my decision, but I'm tempted to agree with you there, only because I don't think really anyone deserves in this film a worst actor. No one was that bad that it's kind of like, I'm not buying what's happening here. Maybe Trish a little bit, although I enjoyed the character, she was a little bit too crazy. I don't know, but maybe that's more about the character than the person playing it. Yeah. But yeah, gun to the head, yeah, I'd probably have to agree with Janine because there was no one else. I'm just looking at the cast list now, and there was no one else. Maybe Devon. Maybe Devon could have.
That was his second one, but then again, I don't know. I think she. Like I say, I think it's probably more down to like director pushing a direction.
Yeah,
Janine, to be honest, instead of her acting ability. But yeah, that's what's pushed me towards it, and I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, no worries. I'll agree with you on that one. So well done, Janine. I don't know who played you, but was it Catherine Curtin? So you win the Steven Seagal Award this week.
Yeah, we need to get like a little award bin up here as well. Who's got the awards?
We'll just for this week it can be this kind of Pepsi.
You could be, yeah.
There you go. And the award goes to Catherine Curtin. There you go. Yeah. The used can of Steven Seagal.
And next up, what are 3 things you enjoyed about the film? Either the characters or the scenes. It could be either.
Go on, shall I go first on this one?
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
Okie doke. So, overall, enjoyable film. Very funny, dark humour. We mentioned it throughout. I love the premise of it being a whodunit with werewolves.
Yep.
I love a good whodunit. with the surprise revealing in the end. So I love that aspect of it. I think it was very well written. I think the dialogue was brilliant. The ending was rushed. The ending let it down. I think if it had a bit of a better paced ending, I think he probably would have maybe had a bit of a better score on IMDb or on other movie sites. Pacing was brilliant. I'd say my favourite scene was probably the ones with the doctor. I just thought her dry humour and the comments that she made, that like kind of people almost don't pick up on in the movie, but I just liked it. I like the scene when she coming down the stairs at the beginning and she says, "I've no idea what you're going on about," or when she creeps up on Janine and she says, "Oh, what a horrible noise." Them bits just made me tickle. But yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, pretty much you covered a lot of what I thought as well, to be honest with you, on the film. So like, no, it's a good thing we agree, to be honest with you, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like you say, I really enjoyed the characters overall. I think the casting director's done really well for playing each character.
Yeah.
I think, like you say, it's really good chemistry between everybody, the way they bounced off each other. Like you say, when they doing a bit of a dialogue, when they talking about some certain scene, and then one person steps in, then another person steps in, and they bounce off each other as they're talking. I think they've done a great casting overall.
Cinematography, and there were some good scenes, like you say, where you just think, that works well, and I like the way they've done that, and it's just quick and snappy, and there's some parts where like we mentioned it numerous times throughout this podcast, where they'll be talking in the background and there'll just be little quibs that you're having to each other that you just maybe don't pick up on unless you're listening from that particular conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought it was great. Ending ruined it. Yeah. Just rushed.
I enjoyed the murder mystery side of it as well, because this is one of the first ones I've watched. I've not seen Knives Out yet, so I think that's probably above 6, isn't it, on IMDb?
Yeah, I would imagine so. It's fairly good film, but it's the fact that I liked how throughout the film they even have you questioning whether there is a werewolf at any point.
Yeah,
the fact that it's in the title kind of gives it away. Werewolves within. But
saying that though, The Shining, there's nothing shining in that film.
Yeah, but you're not looking around looking for something shiny, are you? In that film. In this one, you're clearly waiting for the werewolves because you know there's going to be werewolves. But I think, obviously, the fact that it's based on the game, and I think they were trying to use whatever fan base they had for this VR game that they made back in 2016 to come and see the film. And I think maybe the fact that it was released just before the pandemic, when the whole world went into lockdown, maybe ruined it a bit. But I think maybe change the title.
Yeah.
So the werewolf thing is a bit more of a twist. Because if you didn't know the name of the title was Werewolves Within, when they made the little quibs in the film about it possibly being a werewolf, if it was me and I didn't know, I would have been a bit like, mad. It's just obviously someone messing about or a killer or something. Yeah. And then I think the werewolf bit would have just been a bit more of a reveal. And maybe a bit, add 10, 20 minutes onto the end, just to make the reveal a bit better.
Yeah, I think they should have used the werewolf thing at the end a little bit longer. Definitely 100%.
It was just like, come on, wrap this thing up and let's crack on.
We've got a new feature.
We have.
And that is the Hall of Fame, as you can see right here.
Yes.
So these are the previous films that we've reviewed and discussed about on our podcast. You can catch them on our previous episodes on Spotify or on YouTube channel as well. Don't forget as well, hit 5 stars on Spotify or hit like, comment, share, subscribe, tell everybody about it over on YouTube. So the ones we've put in the want to skip column is the Dragon Ball Evolution, Independence Day, and also worth a watch is the Suicide Squad.
Yep.
Now, where does this film fit for today?
I think it's got to go into must see.
I think so.
Yeah. I think, definitely don't skip this film. It's more than worth a watch. I'd say it's must see. I would say we rented it for quite cheap.
Yep.
just give it a watch. You won't be disappointed. If you've got an hour and a half you need to kill, get it watched. You'll have a laugh. The ending, you're not going to enjoy it.
That's it. Try not to take it too serious when you first go to watch it.
Yeah.
Just go in open-minded and enjoy it.
But I'm hoping by this point you've already seen the film. But if you don't agree, no. Otherwise there's a lot of spoilers. But if you don't agree, leave us a comment. If you have a different opinion, if there's anything we've missed, leave us a comment. We'll try and come back to you if we can.
Yep, certainly will.
But no, if you had to rate this yourself on IMDb, it's currently 6.0.
I'd say 7.5.
7.5?
Yeah, if not 8. What about yourself?
An 8 for this film.
7.5 was a good score, I thought. Yeah.
I'd maybe just chuck in a few extra points, maybe take it to the mid-range in the 6s, say maybe 6.5.
That's a really enjoyed it, because like I said, I've watched it twice.
No,
I went back for the second time. 7.5. I think it's quite a fair.
There's no way this is getting a 7.5.
I think so.
That's very generous.
It's a must-see film.
It's a must-see film, but it's definitely not a 7.5.
So what do you think, then?
I would say 6.5 at maximum.
Yeah.
It's not a groundbreaking film. Like I say, it's must-see. You've got to watch it. It's a good film. It's underrated. I'd never heard of it before this. But I enjoyed it. It's what a film should be. It's entertaining. But is it a masterpiece? Does it deserve to be above 6.5? No.
I'd say 7, maybe. 7.
Yeah.
Probably push it at 7.
Down a bit. Come on. Don't let me sway you, Darren. But
I'll go for 7, right? And I think that is fair.
Right. You have a 7. But anyway, it's in our category. It's going to be a must-see. Next week, you'll see it up here. It's our first must-see film. So, yeah.
That's it.
But no, I think that's everything for this week's episode anyway.
Yeah, we just need to try and find what we're going to be watching for next week's, though.
Yes. So, we've got Halloween coming up. So, we're going to look at a scary film. And thank you, guys. That's the end of the podcast for this week. And Werewolves with him. Yeah, we got through another one.
Certainly was.
So, what we want from you guys is if you're listening on Spotify, please give us that 5-star review. If you liked what you heard, please recommend us to friends. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please like, subscribe, comment. You know, we ask this every week, but it really does go a long way. And next week, if you want to join us for, well, I don't actually know what we're watching next week. Do you know? Oh,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre of 2022.
The original?
On Netflix.
2022?
Yep.
There was another one.
Remake.
Oh my fucking God.
It's not an actual remake. It's more of following the origin story from the original one. 20 years later, or how many years later it is.
Oh, this film, that's a 4.7 on IMDb. Oh, fuck my life. Right, well, guys, catch us next week for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've been Erik. This is Darren. Thanks again for joining us.
Means a lot, guys, so thank you very much for all the support. Real appreciate it.
Yeah. See you later. Have a good week.
Bye-bye.